Hi, welcome to our channel. I'm Luba.
And I'm Yumiko.
And we are gathered. Today we will talk about the Rigel Bomber jacket by Papercut Patterns, and we will talk about the fabrics that we used for the pattern and the pattern fit, modifications, and the instruction clarity, as well as any of the notions that we used and the construction. Yumiko, what fabric did you use?
I used a wool plaid. I was really inspired when after we finished the flower project, and I was struck by this over at Stone Mountain and Daughter, and I really wanted to see how I could use that in this kind of smaller form.
Mm-hmm.
So it's made out of wool, 100%, and then I also lined it with a rayon, actually it might be viscose lining, something colorful and fun.
Were you inspired by the flannel, and like the plaid from the flannel project?
Yes, I was.
That was a fun one.
It was really fun, and you can see a lot of different things you could do with the plaid, I guess. And I mean, I just threw the back into bias. And so, what fabric did you use for the Rigel Bomber?
I also went to Stone Mountain and Daughter with you, and I got this wool blend. Not sure, it didn't quite say exactly what the composition was, but...
Oh, it was a wool blend.
It was definitely a wool blend.
Oh, okay.
Well, we checked on the website later, and it definitely said wool blend.
Oh, okay.
So at first it just said wool on the bolt, and then like later when I checked online it said wool blend. So I'm not sure what it is, but it's dead stock, designer dead stock. I don't know, it just like really spoke to me. It's almost like animal printy from afar away. It's very
it
like...
It has a nap too, right?
It does have a nap, so it was like very important to just make sure that all of the pieces were lined up the correct way. The ribbing that both of us used was the acrylic blend.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it because it was really thick. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it's nice because it's really thick and very stable.
Very stable, yeah. And I feel like, I know that it's synthetic fiber, so I feel like when you press it with a hot iron, it does end up a little glossy, but at the same time it pressed actually kind of well. And you know,
Just gotta remember to use a low setting.
Yeah, or
cover.
cover it. Yeah. And then my lining is also a viscose. I also wanted to go for something a little bit more fun, but also in keeping with the outside. I didn't want it to be, you know, I wasn't feeling the like high contrast mood. I was just feeling like the high contrast kind of in terms of look and feel.
I like how it's blue, not black.
Thank you.
It's just a subtle shift.
What did you think about the pattern fit overall?
I thought it was pretty good. I had the benefit of your experience because you made yours first, and so I knew to cut a little bit bigger than I would have. I think naturally I would have gone for extra small for a jacket, but Luba said it was a little tight in the shoulders, and I know I'm broader than her, so I said I could go to the next size. I've had a little bit of experience with a few other of these patterns by Papercut, and they do tend to run large, I think.
They do?
Generally, except for this one.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like, well, I guess because the other one was really roomy, the
coat?
The Sapporo coat. And then the t-shirts, actually, I have to say, one t-shirt was really big, and then the other t-shirt was really small.
Oh, okay, so it kind of varies.
So it varies, yeah.
Yeah.
It varies.
Okay.
But,
interesting. Yeah, my fit, I think I had a bumpy road in terms of fit. So I looked at the final measurements like on the envelope, and it seems like, so I have very narrow shoulders, but I like to have a little bit more room at the waist. I'm a little bit more pear shaped, and I found, so my hypothesis was that if I start out with an extra small at the shoulders and grade it out at the waistline to a small, that would be perfect. For some reason that didn't end up working out well for me, even though we've done the measurements for our slopers. I'm definitely like very narrow shouldered. But but it was just a little bit too tight. I mean, it's still wearable, and I definitely style it in ways where I have like long sleeves underneath, so like it never seems like it's too short because they're peeking out.
So you didn't mention that the arms were too short for you.
Yeah, the arm.
So
well, I think it's because of the back. There's something in the back measurement that was off for me. Like I think if I made that small for the shoulders and the waist, I think maybe I would have had a total like wrist to wrist. That like measurement would have been right for me.
I see. And then the length of the sleeves, when you did put that against your body, and it seemed like it was long enough. Or I think too, it's kind of confusing because you have the ribbing here.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of factor that in. And
I pressed the seam allowance into the ribbing, and I think that actually makes it seem shorter than it is. I also have a lot of seam allowance there. Like that is a lot. That's almost an inch. And I think it was because I was machine stitching part of it, so I had to like run it through the machine, kind of like this. So I was like,
so it was
trying to twist it under the
tight
presser
around that part of the machine.
So there was not a lot of precision going into that.
Oh right.
I think next time I would just probably hand stitch it.
Hand stitch it onto the jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Oh okay. Mm-hmm. And actually, I think it's easier if you're stitching the ribbing on and stretching it if your foot is on the inside.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Because I was trying to stitch on the outside, and it was wrapped tight around the machine.
So my
bobbin
presser
part
was like in there.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like doing this.
Oh.
And the presser foot was in there.
I guess it's a little harder to regulate the seam that way, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't really see that much in there.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So maybe that other way is easier.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe attaching it before stitching up the sleeve.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
The bottom.
That might be easier.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about that.
Did you make any modifications?
Yeah, so the modifications I made were that I lined the jacket, and
because it doesn't come lined as a pattern.
Yeah,
and the facing.
And then the facing, yes. The facing, I did try to use it because I really wanted to have that a little bit of stability here, a little bit extra. I thought maybe that was really going to be important. But when I sewed this all in with the very thick ribbing, it became so thick up here that it was problematic. It actually was, the seam was popping out. So I removed the facing, but because I was worried about this being too thin here, I went ahead and interfaced the lining as well as added a little bit extra here.
I see.
And that really helped a great deal. And then also I added a pleat in the lining.
You did?
Yeah, just like you did.
Oh, I did that.
Yeah, you did that. And so I followed your lead. And that really helped. Also, I of course pleated it at the waistband too, just so.
Oh, you did?
Oh, you didn't do
that?
I didn't. Oh, that's why
just...
you had trouble easing, maybe.
Well, I don't know. No, that. Well, maybe I don't know. I think it was.
I just felt like it was going to be extra, especially because a rayon tends to be more stretchy, right? Or shifty.
Shifty.
Yeah, shifty.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I pleated it at the bottom too.
Maybe that's
so
why you feel like you have more room inside, because maybe the reason why I feel like the back is like not as roomy as I want it to be is because maybe the lining is just like somehow pulling in the wrong ways.
It could be, yeah. So what did you think about the instructions?
I thought that overall they were pretty clear. I think I was kind of in that sort of mindset where I just breezed through the instructions. I was mostly looking at the pictures. But I found them overall to be very...
You don't do that all the time, do you?
No, not all the time. I think there have been some instructions that weren't clear, and the minute I find something that's unclear, I just start looking at the pictures.
But this seemed pretty intuitive.
This was pretty intuitive, yeah. There was no problems. I will say that welt pockets generally are difficult for me, and I've done them before, and I have made a lot of mistakes before. So I kind of knew what to watch out for, but it was still one of those, it was a process for me to like kind of to be aware of the fact that this was a difficult thing for me, and to just really try to visualize every step, how it would be at the end. Because a lot of times I either put like the pocket because there's two sides of the pocket. There's like the bottom and the top, and you have to really be careful which one you put where. And I've done that mistake before. I've made the mistake before of like putting the bottom on the top and the top on the bottom. And so I was really careful to like look at the instructions, look at the picture. Okay, which shape goes on top? Which one goes on the bottom?
That could be easy to do. Definitely.
Yeah, and then it's always nerve-wracking when you have to cut into your facing fabric, like the right side of the fabric, right? Like that's like the front, and you have to cut a hole in it.
Yeah,
and that's really nerve-wracking. So I think if you are making this jacket and you haven't made welt packets before, maybe practice a bit.
So you use a sample piece and practice. I think that's a good idea. Actually.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that like it's just there's it's persnickety.
Yeah, it's either do a practice run or just double check everything.
Yeah,
I guess
take your time and really make sure.
Make sure that everything's in the right place.
Yeah, you know where the top is, where the wrong side is, where the right side is.
So you did read the instructions right there.
I did,
but not
I mean, I do skim instructions overall. It's not like I just forget about them altogether.
Okay. Just checking.
What about you? How was the instructions?
I feel like the welt pocket instructions were pretty good. I think it was well explained. I think the only difficult part, and I recommend using a zipper foot when you're closing off the sides of the welt pocket.
Oh, really?
Because you have to catch that little piece that's open. Oh. And in order to get in there, I don't know, you didn't have trouble getting in there?
So that's the confusing part is, when you cut into it, you have these, like, this little triangle that you have to, like, tuck in.
And that's not stitched down.
But there's like 3 layers of triangles there, and no matter how you like maneuver it, it's really hard to catch all 3 layers. So yeah, I think that maybe the zipper foot may have been a good tip.
Okay. Yeah, I think it helped me because I tried it without at first and I couldn't catch it all. And overall, I think the instructions were pretty good in regards to how to do the zipper. And to kind of make sure that you've allowed enough seam allowance when you're positioning the zipper and closing that seam. So yeah, I think overall it's pretty good. So the one challenge was the zipper. We found these beautiful YKK zippers, metal zippers, really nice weight, and the way that it rolls.
It is so soft. I just do this when I'm stressed. I'm like.
Therapeutic.
Yeah.
The only thing was it was made, I think they sell popular length. We bought them over at Hearts Fabrics in Santa Cruz, and they were 18-inch, probably for a standard size full zip jacket like a hoodie. And this, of course, is a lower neckline, so we only needed 15, was it? 14-inch. And so, you have to be really careful about where you cut that zipper because there's no going back. So I tend to cut my zippers longer just to be safe, and then I whip stitched with a buttonhole twist. But when I actually laid it down and of course the ribbing's already in, I was off quite a bit, like maybe 3 notches. And so it takes a few tries. I think you got to stitch it in, see how that works, and once you turn it right side out, you can see the relationship to that corner and also to the ribbing. It's got to be just right. So I think on the second or third restitching, I got it right. But yeah, just be a little careful there.
Yeah, that zipper is amazing. I really love it. It's one of my favorite things, and it makes the whole garment feel so much higher end.
It does. Yeah, having that nice weight and that it's metal and that it's a little bit has a really beautiful reflective metal quality. It's really nice.
Yeah, and I love how contrast it is. What a contrast it is to the rest of the fabric. So for me, mine is very cool toned, even the front and the inside. But the zipper is, I feel very very showy. It's almost like a piece of jewelry. I love it.
It is, yeah. And I really love that you chose gold instead, because silver seems like it would be the natural.
Yeah.
Metallic color.
It's something you would find at the store, whereas this is handmade. You know that it's personalized.
Yeah.
it's your taste, my taste.
It looks really good.
Thanks. And as far as construction goes, I think that I felt like overall the construction was very straightforward and made a lot of sense. The fact that I lined it kind of threw me for a loop a little bit, just because I wanted to machine stitch it in as many places as possible. I think that's just a more secure stitch, and I'm not that great at hand sewing. There was no way around the hand sewing part, like around the hem. So this is like, so here's the top, and here's the hem, and I had it like inverted, and I machine stitched it like on both sides as much as I could, and then I absolutely had to just like hand stitch it the rest of the way in the middle, because I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out like the geometry of how to do it all with a machine.
Right. I think it's like you have to just try it out.
Yeah.
And see how it works.
Yeah. I think that next time I'd watch a few more tutorials about like how to line something. I thought I had it all figured out. I thought I would just, copy the front pattern pieces onto the lining. Maybe I should have. Maybe there was some trick to it. What about you? How's the construction?
Overall, pretty good. I think the lining was kind of interesting because you could approach it so many different ways. And we're both going to do this again, make another one.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Maybe we'll document the notes so that you can take a look at how we approached it.
Are you happy with your make?
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. The fabric, I'm still not. Sounds so silly.
Why? What's wrong?
Because I'm happy with it, but then I'm not really sure about the fabric, right?
Yeah, I think that you have this feeling like it's maybe you have some context associated with the plaid.
It's more the feel.
Oh, okay. So it's not the plaid that you have.
Oh, that part, yeah. There is a certain I'm not quite sure how to wear the plaid. I think in some ways it's so bold.
Yeah.
And I feel like it has to be worn, like you got to figure out the right outfit. Because
is that because you associate it with like a lumberjack kind of?
Yeah, it could be kind of lumberjacky, right?
Yeah.
Or kind of too retro looking, not too retro looking, but look like your like your granddad's jacket in a bad way, So I think it's a matter of figuring out what works well with it, and also the fact that this is a raglan. The raglan sleeve I think is hard to wear for me because I'm broad-shouldered, and so the fact that the fabric's thick, it's raglan sleeve, and it's a little bit boxy, is not necessarily the best silhouette for me. And so that's why I feel like I have to be careful of how I wear it. Like I tried to wear this with a cropped wide-legged pants and it looked a little bit funky. Like it didn't look right, and so I'm just trying to figure that out.
White pants are just generally really hard to style, right?
Wide?
White?
Wide.
Oh, you said wide.
Wide leg.
Oh, well,
cropped
either
pants.
white or wide.
Yeah.
Like are very difficult to style.
Yeah. So, and also the fabric, I didn't notice it when I bought it because I was so enamored with the plaid, but it is a little unrefined, and so I can feel, even though this is lined, I can feel the spikiness. There's a few fibers in there that are very coarse, and so, it's a little uncomfortable.
It's so surprising because for me it's hard to imagine that like the viscose wouldn't stop it.
Yeah, it seems like it would.
Yeah.
But just like down pillows, right?
That's true.
Lining and then the fabric, and they always
still
poke through.
Scratch my face.
Yeah. So it's like if it's strong enough, if it's sturdy enough, it's gonna poke through.
That wool really wants to. It'll poke you.
Yeah, it will. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm very happy with my make. I think that there are flaws with it that I'm not really that happy with. I don't like my sizing choices, like the fact that I made it extra small at top. I shouldn't have done that. I should have just made a small. I should always size up because I feel like, well, okay, so basically my experience from other patterns was like, oh, I should always size down because I feel like other patterns tend to be like too big in some way, and then I end up doing some like magic to make it fit. So I thought this would be the same way, but I was pretty wrong. It should have been a small, not an extra small up at my shoulders. But other than that, I think I'm really loving this fabric. I love the ribbing. I love the zipper. I love the lining. I think I love the aesthetic choices I made. Like I like all that. And you know, I've already worn this like 4 times.
Oh,
2 of them were like to work.
Favorites.
Yeah, I think the pattern is like one of my favorites. I think that I've been dreaming of having a bomber jacket for so long that I finally have one, and it feels good to have.
You probably get a lot of compliments on it.
Well, only because I advertised the fact that I made it. I'm not very shy.
You're like, look what I made.
Yeah. Well, specifically because there were a few people. One in particular I can think of who have had bomber jackets that I've really liked, and they were my inspiration to like make a bomber jacket.
Okay.
They were like the reason why I was like, oh, I should make one because I really like your cool velvet.
Velvet.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this one has kind of a nap, so it's kind of the same, all the same lines, and I'm really loving it.
It looks really great. It seems like it's best just to make any pattern you like twice at least.
Yeah.
To really get it worked out right.
Yeah.
And then you're happy with the fit. But it is hard to tell. I mean, certain brands, it varies depending on the form, right? So
I agree with that 100%. I think that the second time I make anything, it's always a little bit better. I mean, the third time is sometimes even better than that. But I think that if I had to make it again, or I would make it again, I will. And when I do, I will make better choices about the sizing, and I would just iron out a few of the details.
do you wish you would have done a muslin first? Because we kind of have stopped making muslins, haven't we?
I think sometimes making a muslin like kills the joy of sewing. So I feel like you have to balance. You have to balance like the joy of making something and being excited about a fabric. I mean, life is short.
And just accept what you have in that first
and I think that's part of the beauty of making your own clothes, is that it's flawed in a very unique way, right? Like, you have your own kind of interpretation of what happened. You have your own story. Whenever I wear a garment I made, I always remember my state of mind when I made it, like what else was going on in my life after I made it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's just like the garment is forever married to that point in my life. And I think that the flaws of it are, you know, an essential part of it. And I think that like it's part of the whole like acceptance movement. You know, you accept your own choices, your own kind of mistakes, even if they're like not really huge.
Very good way of thinking about it.
Yeah, so I mean, I love it. I think that if you ever wanted to do a garment swap, I think I would definitely.
Yeah, we might be swapping.
I love your plaid, and I definitely do not feel at all restricted by it. Like, I think that I'm not afraid of it. Mostly because I think I don't have the lumberjack association, but.
Yeah, I think I just need to, you know, play with it a little bit and see how it goes.
And maybe just, you know, simplify, make it like wear it with something very skinny legged, or maybe like
kind of streamline it.
Pencil skirt, I think would also work.
Oh, that would look nice.
Yeah, with heels.
Yeah,
that would look great.
Yes. I like it.
Well, thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for watching.
It's always such a pleasure, you know, that people join us on our channel. We love that, you know, we're slowly kind of acquiring some viewers. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, and have a great holiday.
Merry Christmas
Merry
and happy
Christmas.
holidays.